There it is. We are live. 24-14 in Lambeau Field in the rain. Let's talk about it. All right, son. Our boys rolled into Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, a place that's always tough to play. One of the few football fields that still has natural grass. It was rainy. It was a mess, but our boys pull it off 24-14, son. As we usually do, let's start with the offense today, son. Let's start with our quarterback, number 16, Jared Goff, 18 for 22, 145, one touchdown, zero picks. What was your thoughts on the man, JG?
Jared Goff. Yeah,
Sir.
so it was like this is like the fourth game in a row. It was another amazing game from Jared Goff. I thought he looked super efficient out there. He makes all the right throws. I mean, he literally makes all the right throws. And the biggest thing that I've seen is that he looks even more confident. He looks so confident out there that it gives me confidence. Because I guess I used to be a little bit nervous about him and stuff, but I'm really not nervous
Oh, yeah.
anymore. He's been super sharp with his passes for the past 4 weeks. And I kind of thought maybe this like crazy completion percentage might be like some crazy fluke, but it's not a fluke. It's actually very clear that, like we said before, they're going to keep doing this. No one can stop us. We have the best offensive line in the league. We have the best running backs in the league, and we have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So we're just going to keep beating teams up by running the ball, and then they're going to get tired of that, and then we're just going to pop it over for 7 yards, for 5 yards, for 15 yards, and So yeah, I thought it was an amazing game from Jared Goff.
I have to agree with you. We have criticized Jared Goff, and rightfully so. Not just you and I, but lots of Lions fans, rightfully so. But Jared Goff is in some type of a zone right now. It seems like he can almost do no wrong. Knock on wood, as they used to say, that he keeps this up. And even like Tom Brady, which I'm really liking Tom Brady as a broadcaster. Brady was even saying during the game, he was like, "Man, I thought this was the game that Jared Goff would slip off because of the weather." He was like, "But Jared Goff." He's got something happening right now. He's got something rolling. His confidence is there. He said that he talked with Jared Goff, and Goff said that Goff said, I've always been an accurate passer. It's just about the timing. It's about, getting the ball out when he's supposed to. And he's definitely doing that right now. And the thing that's impressive, son, is that last week he had 85 yards and we won. We put up 52 points. This game he had 145 yards. And we put up 24 points, but 17 by the offense. Speaking of the running game, son, you mentioned the offensive line in the running game right there on the screen. Monty, 17 for 73. Gibby, 11 for 65 with a touchdown. What was your thoughts on our running backs today?
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't get any better than this. Like I get it, maybe that doesn't look sexy, I guess. Like, okay, 17 for 73, 11 for 65. That doesn't seem like a lot, but dude, 4.3 and 5.9, they pretty much were having their way. I mean, basically
Right.
it was handed to get I mean, as you can see, it handed to Gibbs, get 6 yards. That's more than efficient. So yeah, you can't really ask for much more. I mean, a lot of it goes to the line too. The
Yes.
line isn't playing. So
Yeah, I agree. Today was the type of game, one of the commentators, I want to say that it was Brady. He said that the Lions were built for this type of game. He's like, yeah, a lot of people are talking about how the Lions only have three outdoor games. uh at Green Bay, which is today, at Chicago, which is in December. That could be a nasty one. At San Francisco in September, and who knows with the San Francisco weather. We know it's not going to be freezing, but it could be funky weather. And like Brady said, the Lions look like they are built for this type of weather. They're built for this type of game. People think they aren't, but it's that run game. The offensive line, I agree with you, son. This is the best offensive line in the NFL, especially when everybody's on the field like they were today. I think it's going to be hard to stop our offense. uh let's move on to the receiver, son. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 for 56, and that crazy touchdown he had. Laporta had two. Seemed like Laporta was targeted, was targeted and caught more than that, but he had 2 for 28. Montgomery had 3 receptions. Golf spread the ball around. He hit Tim Patrick, which for 2. Khalif got 1. Gibbs got 1. Allen Robinson actually got a catch, and Brock
yep,
Wright with a
down.
catch. What were your thoughts on the receivers? Two touchdowns. I'm sorry, not two. One touchdown, 145 yards out of all those receivers. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good job from the receivers. Um, um, Basically, I mean, they just play their roles. I mean, the truth is, we don't have um, well, I we don't have like you. We already know we don't have a stereo. I don't know. We don't have a stereotypical guy that we just have to spam the ball with. Like we don't have a DK Metcalf or a Mike Evans or something like that where we just have to throw the ball to him over and over again.
Right.
Johnson is clearly smart enough where it doesn't matter what receivers we have in the game. We can distribute the ball to anybody because most of the time we throw the ball, it's like shorter routes regardless. So I thought the receivers did really well, and they also did really well blocking on the perimeter too.
I would agree. I would agree. And listen, we knew that this was going. Once we saw the weather, we knew that this was going to be a nasty game. I mean, the football when they're played in games like this, there's not going to be a ton of points, and offense are just not going to be clicking like that when the weather is this bad. So I thought that it was a great performance by the offense. Last week, the hero was the special team, son. This week, we to me the special teams did okay. Definitely not like they did last week. Jack Fox 4 punts for 200 yards. That's interesting. 200 yards on the nose with a 50 average.
Yeah,
Jake
the punter
Bates only
was
had
pretty
one
good.
field goal, but he made it. And Khalil Dorsey and Isaiah Williams had two, in my opinion, good kick returns. One for 36 yards, one for 30 yards. Any thoughts on the special teams today?
Oh no, like you said, I just thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree. Okay, so let's move on to the defense. I'm gonna go back up before I look at our defensive players. Let's look at what the Packers actually did. They had 14 points. Out of those 14 points, they had one touchdown. Let me see. They had a touchdown, a 2 point conversion, and wait a minute, did they have two touchdowns? No. Let me see. I'm sorry, son. Let me see. Russian. No. How did they? Wait a minute. They had
Yeah,
the field
oh,
goal.
I don't know.
Oh, they must have had two field goals. I must be slipping. Let me see. I'm sorry. 2 for 2. Yes, that's what it was. McManus had two field goals. I'm like, wait a minute, how
And
did
they
they?
got a 2 point conversion. I forgot.
Yes, they did. It's offense at one touchdown. Now we'll talk. Speaking of our defense, son, this is what alarms me. Jordan Love with that injury, 23 for 39, 273 yards. He didn't have a great average. He did have that crazy interception, but the thing I want to point out, son, is to the right of that, 0 sacks. That's concerning to me. He had at least 5 seconds almost every play to throw the ball, which is why those receivers were open. If you look at our defense, son, with that, we know that Joseph had an interception. He also had 4 tackles. We were led by Jack Campbell's 13 tackles, 7 by Carlton Davis. Joseph, who came in after Branch got ejected, with 6. And you can look down the line and see what the main thing that stands out is no sacks. What was your thoughts on our defense today?
Yeah, no, I thought the defense played amazing, and to be honest, I really didn't notice the no sacks. I guess maybe that's because Jordan Love already wasn't doing. I thought we got. I honestly, I thought we did pretty well with the pressure, but I mean, yeah, we definitely do need to bring the quarterback down a few more times. But no, I think me personally, I think the Lions have the best defense in the league. Um, Honestly, it really should have been 24 to like 6 or something, to be honest, because they got those last 7 points in garbage time. Basically, it really didn't even matter to me. At least the game was already over. But no, I thought the defense played lights out for the most part, because when Brian Branch went down, it was the next man up. I mean, that guy was a little shaky. I know his last name Joseph. I don't
Yes.
know his first name. I thought he was all right. But I mean, it's clear to me we have the best safeties in the league. I think people are really going to start thinking twice about throwing in the middle of the field, because I mean, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch there's something to be feared. Um,
Right.
uh, and I think Terran Arnold just has to keep progressing. It's clear that they don't really like to throw at Terran Arnold anyway, so obviously he must be doing something right. And Carlton Davis is just improving. He's just been improving every week. I feel like it's harder for him to look good because he gets targeted so much. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Son, I'm not taking anything away from the defense. I do believe that the defense looked good, but the lack of a pass rush is just very evident to me. I know I told you this before. It's something I do whenever our defense is on the field. I count. As soon as the ball is snapped, I have an internal clock in my head: 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and I was consistently getting to 5 seconds before Jordan Love would let the ball go, which means he had way too much time to throw the ball. I think that our corners, our DBs, are going to look even better when we get some type of a pass rush. Which reminds me something I wanted to touch on since we're talking about pass rush. We have 2 days to go, son, and 4 p.m. on Tuesday is the trade deadline. After that, there are no more trades. They talked that I heard in NFL Today. They said that the Lions have been sending out calls that the Brad Holmes is trying to get not one but two pass rushers. What I'm hearing about, son, is they're talking about these may be long shots, but they're talking about Trey Hendrickson trying to get him out of Cincinnati, maybe Chase Young getting him out of New Orleans. Arden Key, a kid I talked about in the video I did last week, son, from Tennessee, and Zadarius Smith out of Cleveland. Those are the four pass rushers that they said the Lions have been targeting, and they're saying that Brad Holmes is trying to get two of those guys, not just one. What is your thought on us possibly getting two of those guys? And if it was any two, who would you like to see?
Um, uh, honestly, I don't know. I'm not going to get my hopes up about a bigger guy. And if I don't know, the only names that I really know out of there was the Darius Smith, and I don't know the other smaller guy that you had said.
Arden Key.
Yeah, and I don't know who that is. Just because I mean, really, like I want us to get Max Crosby, but I just don't think they're going to do it. They never do
Right.
it. They never make those kind of trades.
Yeah.
I don't. And like Chase Young, like okay, what do we have to give up for that? Like the Lions won't do that. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, at this point, you probably could be honest with you. At this point, you probably could get Chase Young for something lower, to be honest. Fourth or fifth round pick at this
Oh,
point.
okay.
We didn't get him in free agency. He went to New Orleans. You probably could get him. Now, Trey Henderson is going to cost you to get. The reason I didn't mention Kirby Joseph or Myles Garrett is because both of their team presidents for the Raiders and the Browns said that those guys are not going anywhere. That's why I didn't mention those guys. Now, behind the scenes, Brad
Yeah.
Holmes could still be trying to do something, but that's why I mentioned these other guys. But Arden Key, if you would have to watch the Titans game again and notice him. I mean, he is long and lanky. He might be like 260, but he can get to the quarterback. He's 28, so he's in his prime. He could get to the quarterback. He would be perfect with Henderson on one end. And Zadarius Smith, a guy we're familiar with, he plays for the Vikings. And like I told you a couple days ago, son, he has been sending out cryptic messages that he wouldn't mind coming to Detroit. So, but I want to kind of end on that. I do think that when these next 48 hours, son, I do think we need a couple of pass rushers to really make this Super Bowl run, because if we can have some guys, because I had my eye on James Houston a lot because coach called him out and said Houston and other guys are going to have to step up. And twice I saw Houston almost get to the quarterback, but he slipped each time. One time he slipped uh where he almost had a sack on Jordan Love, and another time Jordan Love put a move and he kind of like lost his footing, so he missed out on 2 sacks. So I would like to see us do something. But son, 24-14, our boys are now 7-1. Do you have any final thoughts?
Um, no, I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Who would you like? Who do you think that they're gonna get though? Like defensive end wise.
If I had to guess, I'm gonna say, did the Browns lose again, son? I'm trying to remember if the Browns lost again,
I think so.
and I know the Titans won today. I don't know about Hendrickson, but out of those guys I named, I could see I could see Zadarius Smith and maybe Arden Key, because I do think that even though the Titans did win today, I do think the Titans are still sellers
Yeah,
because they're in total tear down rebuild mode, and I could see those two guys. I think if you can get those two guys, it would be great. It would do better than basically playing four defensive tackles, because that's kind of, if you take James Houston out the equation, we're really playing all defensive tackles across the board. So that's what I think, and I wouldn't mind seeing. But I suppose we'll see what happens. We have a couple more days to see. So, uh,
yeah,
yeah. Well, all right, Lions fans, and all the rest of you. If you haven't already, over on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so we can keep talking Lions football. You see our TikTok on the screen right there. Give us a follow over there, and our Twitter/X page is scrolling at the bottom. go over there if you will and give us a follow there as well. Well, all right, people, until next Sunday night when we travel to Houston and take on the Texans. Peace.
Peace.